What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down Kyler Murray's throwing mechanics. We're going to be talking about his deep ball mechanics. We're going to be talking about how he's able to stay square and keep a nice, strong base when he makes these off-platform throws. And then we're going to be talking about an off-platform throw where you don't have your feet set, okay? So these are some of Kyler's skills, throwing this deep ball, having this lightning quick release, even when it looks like a long release, and we're going to address that as well. And guys, if you're a quarterback and you want to get better at reading coverages and you want to learn just what the defense is going to do before they actually do it, check out that link in the description. It says learn how to read defenses. We break down 150 plus NFL defenses where we talk about how to diagnose coverages, what to look for, how you can beat those coverages, and how you can attack those coverages. Plus, you get 4 new breakdowns every single week added on to the 150 already preloaded. Okay, hope to get you guys on that soon. Again, link in the description. Now let's get started. So first things first, I already know what everybody's going to say. Oh, he drops the ball too low, right? Okay, now, yes, I think he does drop this ball a little bit low. This is not something that I teach personally. But again, it's clearly working for him, right? So I'm not going to sit back here and try to criticize this guy about what he should do and how he should take the ball back, because it's obviously working for him. He's balling out and he's playing like one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now, okay? So yes, he does drop this thing a little bit low, and that's obviously from his baseball background. And I'm sick and tired of hearing everybody say he throws this thing like a baseball, because there's a lot of key factors that tie into what he does compared to other quarterbacks. And that's what we're going to point out today. I'm not going to focus on all the negatives. I'm not sitting back here trying to critique this guy being an armchair quarterback. I'm trying to point out the positive side of things, why he's so efficient when he does throw this thing, and why different motions for different guys work well, right? I don't like the low drop because I feel like it takes a little bit too long, but Kyler's got such a fast release that it doesn't play a factor for him. It's not like that Tebow style where he extends back and it's slow. It's a quick stroke. It's just if he could get it straight back a little bit more, it could be quicker, but again, like I said, it's working for him. So I want to address that number one, because now we're mainly going to be focusing on his legs, his hips, and his shoulders, and that's more so like hitting a baseball than throwing a baseball, okay? So we're going to talk about some of the key similarities between that Kyler has and a lot of the elite passers in the league have, okay? So let's get started. So first things first, when you're running full speed like this and you got to pull up and launch this thing downfield, that is such a hard thing to do, right? So the most important thing is we got to try to keep the same sequence with my shoulders and my front foot, especially when I got to put the brakes on, I got to pull up right now, and I got to launch this thing downfield. So when Kyler pulls up right here, and you see when he gets that front foot in the ground, it's nice and anchored, right? Anytime you guys are throwing this thing deep, anytime you guys are trying to get a little bit more on it, you want to make sure that we have a firm front leg, we have a balanced front leg, so I'm able to just rotate through. Because if that front leg extends out, what a lot of people like to do is they like to extend that front leg, and that shoots everything up with their upper half. They don't get any hip rotation right here, so they lean out of the throw. And when you lean out of the throw, then your arm gets pushed outside of your frame, right? You see how Kyler's able to keep that front shoulder closed. He's not spreading his chest as this open, right? He's got that backstroke. He's creating some torque, and he's driving his hips through. And you see how much his hips are starting to rotate through. Back hips coming towards almost his belly button, his front hips starting to open up. That's what we need to be able to do to generate torque, right? And while we do that, we want to make sure that the shoulders are just kind of along for the ride. That's the terminology that I use, right? So I pull up here. My thought process should be, okay, it's the same foot strike, right? And obviously you can't think about all this in a game scenario, but you can think about this while you're drilling it and while you're in practice. You want to think push off the back leg. It's the same exact foot strike, so the sequence stays the same, because your arm is all muscle memory, right? This is a motion that you guys have done thousands of times, right? So when you take the ball back and you're not thinking about it, your body's just going to result to that muscle memory. But what changes is that foot strike. So if you have the same foot strike, you have the same shoulder rotation, you're able to generate torque on the deep ball, it won't change. But what a lot of people do is they load up too much on their back leg and their foot strike changes. And then what happens is you have that same stroke, but the timing is off. The timing is different. So your front foot hits the ground and your shoulders are starting to come through before the ball actually comes through, right? But you see Kyler does a great job of getting the front foot down nice and normal. And you're going to see in the next clip as well, as that front shoulder's closed, as he's in this L angle, again, like I said, drops it a little bit low, but everybody throws this ball different. Now it's his hip drive that brings him up to that 90. Hip drive brings him up to that quote-unquote 90-degree angle, and you see how his hip is coming through before this football. That's the key to being able to get power. But now how I keep that power and keep that consistency is I don't swing my front side here, and I don't swing that elbow down. That's the goal right there. Get that front hip through get that back hip through, rotate your front hip open before that football comes through so we can generate torque. That's the position that we want to be in. Hips level, shoulders level, and you can tell he had a little bit of an arc with that front shoulder, and then that follow-through's up in the air like he's throwing darts. You see how square he's able to stay right here. This is what some people struggle with so much, is staying square when they throw a deep ball. Everybody loves to swing the elbow down. Everybody loves to lean their head out of there, and what that does is that pushes your arm outside of your frame. But when you could stay square, your arm's just along for the ride, and it's wherever you flick that wrist, that's where we're going to have that consistent spot. Now, you see how, again, when he's here, how balanced he's got his slight bend with that front knee, right? Obviously, it's going to come off the ground a little bit because we're running full speed and we're pulling up and trying to throw. But if you can be firm with that leg, if you get some balance with that front leg and just let your hips bring everything through, shoulders back, create that torque, it's going to be a money throw for you, and you're going to be able to get a lot more velocity and a lot more distance on this throw, okay? It's a great job here by Murray, and you see the results. Just a dime right over the shoulder here to Kirk. Let's watch this thing full speed one more time. So he pulls up here, front foot down, shoulders back, and let this thing fly. So now we're going to be looking at this off-platform throw here by Kyler. So by off-platform, I mean his feet aren't on that platform and he's not set. And we're going to talk about why we have to do this. We're going to talk about the reason when you need to do this, because it's not just about knowing the technique. It's about knowing when you make this throw and just how this throw works, right? So now, you see when Kyler's here, this is life in the NFL. Your feet are never going to be set. It's just a fact. You're not going to have all day to go through progressions, set your feet, like 7-on-7 style where you just take freaking 8 hitches. Sometimes it's going to be, you're going to have to avoid a pass rush. You're going to have to keep your eyes downfield. You're going to have to play through these windows, especially being a shorter guy, and if you set your feet, you're going to be late. That's just the fact of the matter. Everything gets faster as the levels you progress, right? College ball, things gets faster. If you're a young guy, freshman in high school, and you're not on varsity yet, when you get to varsity, it gets a little bit faster. Every single level you jump, the game gets a little bit faster, right? So it's about cutting out wasted motion. And now you see when Kyler's here, his feet are set down the middle of the field. He doesn't see Hopkins till the last second. So what we got to do is we got to make this off-platform throw. It's like a baseball-style throw, and that's why we bring his baseball background into this, because these are throws that those guys got to make all the time. You see, again, like I said, I know he drops this thing low. I don't need to hear it. I know he drops it low. It's clearly working for him. He's got such a quick release that it works for him, okay? So now when he drops this thing low here, but you see how his feet aren't set, but he's still able to anchor that front foot. That front foot is the same foot strike. You got to make sure that it's the same foot strike when you're off platform, okay? So when you don't have your feet set and you're trying to throw back across the field, like let's say maybe you stepped up in the pocket and you got to throw through this window, but you can't get your feet set. It's the same foot strike because we got to have the same timing of that sequence. We got to have the timing of that sequence as your front foot's down, as your front shoulder stays back or stays on the target, because that's how you generate torque, because you could get your hips going towards the target. You get that dissociation. That's what everybody loves to call it. As your hips go back, or as your hips go forward, your shoulders go back, and that's torque. Now, you see when we make this off-platform throw, you see how much he's able to rotate that front hip, how much he's able to come through with these hips, and that's what creates torque. And again, you see what I'm talking about. Hip is coming through before the football. That's where we need to be, and look where his front hand is. He's staying square. A lot of people, when they're off-platform like this, they don't have a good center of gravity. So they'll be sitting here and they won't have their feet set, and to get power on this thing, because they don't have a good center of gravity, they're either standing up too tall, maybe their feet are real narrow, they don't have their butt down, they swing their whole front side and they drift on the opposite way of the throw. And what happens is if you're here and you make this throw and your front side's falling away like this, your arm's going to get pushed outside of your frame and you're going to come across your body. And that's why a lot of coaches don't teach off-platform throws. But this is a big thing that I've worked with my guys all summer, because the way I handle it is, beginning of the year, we work on technique, mechanics. Then when it starts getting fun around May, June area, then we start working off platform throws, getting uncomfortable, being in these uncomfortable situations, because your mechanics will help you there, but being able to work these throws. And what a lot of guys love to do is they don't like staying square on this throw. They'll think, okay, it's an off platform. Maybe they're drifting the opposite way. Their feet aren't set and they want to swing their whole body out of there. That's not what we can have, fellas. We got to make sure that I keep my shoulders square. I got to keep my hips square. And if you can keep your hips square to the target as your feet are set in the opposite direction and you're still driving off the back leg, you still have the same normal foot strike, but you close your shoulders and you trust your hands at the target, that's going to get you a lot of accuracy and some velocity. You're going to create that whip to it. And you see how Kyler flicking that wrist like he's throwing a dartboard, or he's flicking that booger off his index finger. That's a great job making this off-platform throw. This is a very, very tough throw, especially when you're getting pressure back here, especially when you're getting pressure. A lot of guys can make this throw when stepping up in the pocket, but guys like Aaron Rodgers, too, is another perfect example. Guy never has his feet set. He never sets his dang feet, because he knows I could take the same foot strike. I can still close my shoulders. I can just trust my hands. You guys have all seen him throw that ball. When he flicks that wrist, he really lets that thing go right at the target, because he knows he generates force by that foot strike, by that hips, and being able to keep your shoulders square and your hips square. That's the main key on this, okay? So this is a great job here by Kyler working this throw. Let's watch it again one more time. And again, if you're a short guy, you got to live here. You got to freaking do, this has got to be the only thing that you do. You got to be able to play through these little windows right here if you're going to step up and set your feet, and you got to you better be good at off platform, because, dude, you're not going to be able to see everything. So you got to sometimes create those windows for yourself, change up that arm angle, find those awkward situations where you got to make that throw. That's how the game's played these days. You watch Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers is another good one. He's not a short guy, but same thing. Baker Mayfield sometimes. Those shorter guys, the reason why they can play in the game today is because of guys like Aaron Rodgers laying a foundation for how you can play in the pocket and how you should play in the pocket. You don't got to set your feet. That's why you see baseball guys having so much success like Kyler, Patrick Mahomes. They're comfortable with these uncomfortable situations. So if you're a young quarterback and you want to get to that next level, I highly suggest you focus on being comfortable with the uncomfortable. If you can be comfortable with the uncomfortable and focus on just when you're working out, even if you don't have any people rushing at you, even if you got one receiver, if you're throwing to your dad, brother, whoever, just try to put yourself in those uncomfortable situations. And yeah, it's going to be tough, but if you can get comfortable with that, it's going to make life 10 times easier at this position, okay? So let's watch this throw full speed one more time, making sure we keep my hips and my shoulders square at all times. Trust those hands so I can get this ball to my playmaker, and so I'm not late on this throw. Great job here by Kyler Murray. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave those in the comments. And again, if you want to get better at reading coverages if you're a quarterback, check out that link in the description. It says Learn How to Read Defenses. I'll see you guys next time.